Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode in my Minecraft survival world. Here we are outside the crazy spawn chunks villager area, and we've got all of the villagers in the platform there after the crazy happenings of last episode, and everything is looking pretty much in order here, which is a new thing because I'm used to complete chaos and you know, having a cursed episode, because that's what the last episode was. But we are looking pretty good here. Everything is back to normal, and well, all of these villagers here, I basically have no idea how to actually get them to where we want them to be, which is into those cells right there. And basically the plan is we actually need 8 villagers in each of these cells. So you can see where there's those fence posts there. We actually need 8 villagers inside each of those, or on top of each of those fence posts. And then we can actually build ourselves a proper villager breeder. So these guys in here, we have a fair, decent amount of villagers, and you know, obviously let me just use the boats right here and get this guy trapped. We have a fair amount of villagers in these, but the thing is that we don't have enough to fill up all of those, because there's actually 4 modules there, and so we'd obviously need 32 villagers, if I've got my maths correct right there. So the plan is to actually just fill up some of these cells first, and then to actually use the villager breeder itself to breed more villagers, of course, and then to refill it using those villagers themselves. So it's already going to be a pretty difficult task to get the villagers into there, but I'm thinking about using a minecart system here, which can be pretty easily done, I'm pretty sure. So I'm just going to get that thing built up, and now it's daytime as well, so all of these guys will burn to death, which is great, and then I will be back. Alright, so the laying out of all of the rail lines here is going pretty well indeed. Everything seems to be working out, apart from the fact that I went to explore in one of the caves down there where I could hear tons and tons of mobs, and I got blown up. Luckily I got all of my stuff back again, but I'm just kind of used to dying now. And so here we are at the breeder, and I've connected up this long kind of rail system right here. So if we just take a ride down this thing, this is what the villagers will actually be riding down. So this thing goes all the way down to the breeder right here, and I should probably stop that. No, I couldn't stop that there. And this boat shouldn't be here, but this is a little system we've got, which is like a minecart villager pickup system, and the way that it works is you just have to fire out a minecart right here, and it should pick up the villager which is inside this little cubicle, and fire them off on this kind of crazy journey all the way down there to the breeder. So hopefully nothing will go wrong. I am slightly sort of pessimistic about how this is going to all work, and whether this breeding, this sort of pickup system will work or not, and also whether I will be able to protect the villagers as they kind of come up this precarious unguarded slope, which I should probably at least light up. But like I say, I did go and light up one of the caves down there eventually, you know, after a little bit of trouble, which is one which is just right over here. So I should probably go and actually cover this thing up. That would perhaps be a good start to actually protecting this area. But apart from that, we're all good to go, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and push some of these villagers into this cubicle here. Not all of them, but just a few, and then we can get started actually putting them into the actual villager breeder itself. Yes, I've got 2 villagers inside this module right here, so we're going to go and give this a quick go and see how this goes, and that didn't even pick up the villager at all, so definitely there's something wrong with the speed, as I kind of imagined. So when I need these guys to escape, they're not escaping. Is this even... Come on! I'm letting you free, I'm letting you... I'll forget it. This game confuses me sometimes. Those guys are back in, and the reason I actually wanted to let them escape and trap them was just because I wanted to go and try something else in this system right here, which is to put a trapdoor right there, which should align the villagers in a certain way, and basically allow them to be picked up by the minecarts. I'm not sure if I actually did it in the right way. It might have been... I think it's meant to be on the other side, because I'm sort of doing the opposite to what's on the tutorial. I'm doing the flipped version. But yeah, what I meant by the speed in the cut before, or the cut before the one before, was the fact that the minecart might have been going too slowly or too fast. which is why I actually didn't pick up the villagers. That's what it said in the tutorial that could happen. But now that I've used the trapdoor, it hopefully, fingers crossed, should work. So try number 2 here, and I've removed the trapdoor just because I realized that the trapdoor had nothing to do with the problem and the speed had nothing to do with the problem. What it was that the minecarts weren't even aligned in the correct way, so this should hopefully work just right, and it did, and I had complete faith in that one because I actually followed the tutorial properly this time, which is something you should do when you're actually trying to follow a tutorial, is to actually follow it. But yeah, we've got this guy in here. I should probably add in another trapdoor, but that won't go there because there's the minecart block. Hopefully this guy doesn't escape, and even if he does, I'm not too bothered at this point because I think I can get him back at least. I've got good experience of that now, and hopefully I've built this bit correctly, and I think you can just push them in like that, although that doesn't really look too right, to be honest. Yeah, in the tutorial it says you can just do this, but I've also watched another tutorial which says that you should kind of not even have the fence post there in the first place, and you should just have the cobblestone wall and let the villagers fall down onto that, and then what you've got to do is put in a bucket of water so they all float up, and then you're actually meant to place in the fence. And I'm really not sure, but I think it might just work just putting them in like this, because that's what the tutorial said as far as I can remember. And not only that, but I think their collision boxes will kind of push them away from each other and put them properly into the breeder right there. So yeah, the cobblestone walls are probably not to stay right there. They're just for the extra over protection that I've put in there, just so none of these guys escape. But I think we can try this a few more times and see how it goes. Yes, so I've managed to get 8 villagers inside here, or at least what I think is 8. Hopefully it is, and I've counted correctly right here. But to get these guys inside, I actually had to break the fence posts. So I was wrong about the fact that, you could possibly just use what, it looked like in the tutorial, and just do it right like that. But I actually had to go and get rid of that fence post. And okay, this is probably not going to work very well, but what I'm doing here is just adding some cobblestone walls around the area around here, just because what I'm going to need to do is actually add in a slightly higher wall, because I'm going to actually need to add in some water down below to get these guys to float up a little bit, and so I can add in the fence posts. So these guys, what they are notorious for doing is actually just kind of when they float up, they can actually just jump up over blocks and escape. So that's why I'm adding in some more of these cobblestone walls. So this is just, these are just things you need to really take care of when you're actually working with the villagers. For the time being, I'm just going to use the walls which are in the side here and build up this thing. And then I'm going to go down below and actually add in that water and hopefully be able to add in that fence post. Alright, so here goes nothing. I'm just going to go and add in a little bit of water right here, and you see that they're floating up and down, and it might take a little bit of a while, but there you go. I've got in that fence post, and that actually worked really, really well. I thought that was much easier than I expected. So if I go up there right now and yeah, almost fall to my death a few times while I'm on the way there, it should look like they're all kind of neatly arranged inside that little block where they're standing, all of the villagers. So hopefully this has worked properly. I'm going to have to get rid of these walls right here now. And yeah, I think it looks a little bit better than how it was before, because you can see there's 4 sort of sections where the villagers are standing inside. And I think that's good. I think that's all we need to do. So now I just have to basically repeat that with as many villagers as I can from that breeder over there, and we should be looking good. Alright, so apologies for how loud the villagers were in the previous 2 cuts, but I've put the volume a little bit lower now, so hopefully that's okay. We've got 8 villagers inside here with the fence thing done. Obviously we did that in the last cut. And here we've got 7 villagers, as I've written here just to remind myself. This one we actually need 1 more villager in, so we're not going to do the whole fence thing just yet. We're going to leave that for the time being. But what I'm going to go and do is actually feed these guys loads of food. As you can see, we've actually used up all of the villagers which we had there. And this is actually a pretty neat system, to be honest. Now I feel a lot more organized. in this episode and a lot more ready for how to deal with villagers, you know, just after the terrible experiences which we had in the last one. But just before we can actually start using this breeder for the first time, what we're going to actually have to do is go down here and replace these doors that were here to replace a village right here, and that will allow us to actually use this breeder and hopefully it will work. And obviously I've got to like put up a little bit of a collection zone down there beneath exactly where the villagers are. And so I think the reason that the villagers escaped from this platform last time and the reason they all like flocked through to this corner was because of the village here, and that's why, you know, during last episode at some point I actually destroyed this village, and it stopped all of the villagers from running all over the place. So that's a good tip as well. If you're trying to deal with villagers, it's always good just to get rid of the village or any other villagers nearby, which means that get rid of all of the doors nearby basically, or they will flock to the doors and it will be pretty crazy indeed. But yeah, I'm going to go and feed these guys loads of carrots and potatoes and things like that, and try and get them breeding as soon as possible. I've been doing a fair bit of work over here at the villager breeder, and I've got a few things set up here. So obviously what you can see right here is a kind of villager sorting system, if you like, and we've got some water streams right there. So what happens is, as the villagers get bred up and the baby villagers fall down, they'll be sorted down into this air block right here because they'll just be filtered by the water, and as they grow up they'll be brought up through the water stream and into this collection area right here, which is how the whole system will work. And once we have them in this collection area, we can go and fire a minecart out of this dispenser just the same way that we had over there. I've built another one of these systems right here, and the minecart will go and pick up the villager and basically take him across this thing. Except there's a slight problem with the design, and you probably noticed that there are no doors there like I was going to place, and were actually doors there, but no villagers seem to be spawning. And I realized that the doors kind of can't be placed like that anymore. You kind of have to have blocks above them and things like that. And so the only way we can actually get this village created is to build it right up there above the whole villager breeder. So I've actually reconnected this line right here, which goes up, and this goes all the way up to this other platform which I've created. So usually it would just go down here into the place where we're going to be able to put the villagers into that breeder, but now I've actually made it go all the way up to here, and this is where the villager will be going, that one which you see right down there all the way, which had the 6 doors originally. So now we need to place that guy over here, replace all of those 6 doors, and put some blocks on top of that as well. And once we do that, we should actually be good to go. So the way that I'm actually going to take this villager out is actually fairly simple, but the first thing I'm probably going to have to do is go to sleep, because if we lose this villager, then we're basically screwed, because this is like the main villager, essentially the one which will create the village and which will allow the rest of the breeder to work basically. So this is the key villager, and I think it's going to be pretty easy. So I'm just going to go and think about this a little bit first of all, and I think it's going to be quite simple because we have that whole system over there which is basically perfect for this. So I'm going to get rid of that block which automatically got rid of itself right there. I'm going to go fill in a few blocks like this, and I'm going to get some cobblestone walls maybe, which I don't seem to have on me. So I'm just going to get some actually these slabs probably won't do it. Clearly I'm not very prepared here, he would have escaped just there. So I'm going to go get myself some cobblestone walls and prepare this a little bit more. Alright guys, well, yeah, maybe the cursed episode isn't over just yet. Some serious bad news here. The villager has died. The villager died because of my utter stupidity. What I did was I brought it out with I put some cobblestone walls around, I brought it out with some water and let it be right there. Obviously I had my Frostwalker boots off, so none of this was all happening. And I put it into a boat and drove it all the way over to here. It was actually probably this boat or maybe another one. Actually it was right here, the boat. and I broke the boat hoping that I could kind of get it to land, and unfortunately the villager just kind of um, got out of the boat right here and fell down into the water, and it was trapped. It didn't flow up for some reason, and so it drowned. It basically died right there. And so, like I said in the last cut, I said we'd be screwed if we got rid of that villager, and we kind of are, apart from the fact that the only source of villagers we have now is those ones. So, I think what I'm gonna have to do is break that cobblestone post right there and get rid of, well, not get rid of, but move all of these 7 villagers down into this system right here. And then from there, I can take basically all of them back up this minecart track right here, and I'll take them one at a time, of course. So I'll take the first one up here all the way to the doors up here, and so that will be our villager, if you know what I mean, the one with the doors up here. So I can take, and this is the one that I'm thinking of breaking, the one with 7, because that hasn't got a fence post in it. So yeah, I'm going to break that, get all of the villagers into that cell, that holding cell, pick one of them up to here first, put in the doors, get rid of all of these blocks, and then basically replace those villagers back inside there. So it's not too much of a big deal. Luckily, I'll be able to actually fix this, hopefully, and we should be all okay if this all goes to plan. I'm just going to break the cobblestone wall right here, and this should hopefully work. So this is a good test of our system, I guess. So we've got 7 villagers there. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's pretty much perfect. So now I can replace this, and yeah, these guys are all going into there. That's perfect. Now it is turning to night though, so I guess I should probably go to sleep. But I just want to see all of these guys flow into there. Yeah, that is brilliant. So now I'm just going to sleep. And now I can actually use this minecart dispenser thing. Hopefully this works. Yes, that's perfect. Alright, and we can follow this guy all the way up. Hopefully he goes up all of these steep inclines right here. Perfect, he's gone up all the way to the top. And we're actually going to leave him in the minecart right there. This is the place that he needs to be. Now this is the important bit. I need to be really, really careful. Just to slowly edge him over into the middle, just like that. Maybe a little bit more just this way. And yeah, he's kind of like wonky right there, but it should be okay. I basically just need enough room to place those doors, and everything should be okay. So I need to place 6 doors here. So I could do 1 on either side like this. Okay, that's kind of awkward. Hopefully I don't harm this villager if I just do this. Yes, perfect. So I think I need to be on this side. There we go. That's 1 door. And I think I can just do 3 like this. So 1, 2, oops, 3. And I can nudge him back into the center now, just like this. And then we can have 1. Oops, that's on the wrong side. Hopefully he doesn't go back onto the minecart rail. That would be bad. So just push him this way again. So 1, 2, and 3. So there you go. The village is, oops, the village should be nearly created now. I can get rid of this pillar right here. But there is one slight thing which is a problem, which is that I haven't put any blocks on top of that. So on top of these doors there are meant to be blocks as far as I can remember. So if I get rid of this right here, then I can go ahead and place some blocks on top of these, just like so. And there we go, we should be done with actually creating a village. But there is one other thing, which is to actually light this thing up. So I'm just going to go ham with the lighting here. We don't want any mobs spawning up here. That would be pretty devastating indeed. But I'm pretty sure I can't really use any other blocks on top of those. So I'm just going to leave it like that. And that is the first stage done. Alright, so now I've replaced that cobblestone wall right there again, and I'm ready to basically fire this thing off again, and hopefully it should be good to go. So I'm going to do 1 at a time just in case, or I guess I could at least start with 1 just so I know that this thing is working and all of the rails have been properly placed and things like that. Now I can go and close this thing right here, and I need to basically get them into that hole. So if I can just get rid of that and push this guy gradually into this hole, hopefully I don't fall in there, because if I do, then again we're screwed. And yeah, that's pretty good. So he's fallen into there. Now I can just go and get the rest of them. Well, this villager breeder doesn't actually seem to be working, but everything is in position, and hopefully sooner or later villagers will start spawning, because I remember with the old breeder it took a little while for things to get started. But everything is pretty much ready apart from that, so I think I'm going to leave it just as it is. All of the villagers have obviously been put back into their small containment area right there. But I'm afraid that that is it for today's episode. And it may not look like we've done much, but I think we've done a fairly decent amount of work in getting the villager breeder ready. And we've gone over our little time limit of 20 minutes. I also did go over to my base back there, and I went and filled up the whole vegetable farm which we have with loads of carrots and potatoes and things like that. So that is also ready to go and produce some food for these guys. And no way! I just saw some hearts in the background just then. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw some hearts in the background right there. So that is a very good sign right here at the end of the episode. But like I say, on that happy note, for once, we have a positive thing going on right here. On that good note, I'm going to end this episode. So thank you very much for watching. If you did like this one, please be sure to leave a like and maybe even subscribe. But apart from that, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.